Panasonic, the heart of your system.
I'm Leo Waldett for Kit Guru, here with SuperO, which is the consumer brand of SuperMicro, the motherboard people. We think of them as workstation people, but they are also in the gaming and consumer area. So that is SuperO there. What we have behind me is a system demonstrating a motherboard there, so loads of posh liquid cooling, and it's not RGB, no, it's illuminated, not RGB, just white light. Very nice, lots of bits power cooling. Not so relevant in terms of the cooling for us Europeans, because bits power tends to be Asia. However, the way it's been done, very nice indeed. Small, compact, and in the heart of it, we have the motherboard. Moving across, we have the much bigger version of this. Thermal take, open case. We've seen this chassis many, many times. The actual rare point here is seeing it with a SuperO board. And in fact, it's a full-size board. I had to look below the graphics card just to see how big it was. Such an enormous case that actually it just gets swallowed up in the cavernous room. So again, a demo vehicle for the SuperO board, in this case, the C9 Z390 PGW. And then we're going to do a quick rundown of a whole line of motherboards. Now the thing here is, if the board has a black PCB, it's supposed to be SuperO, which means consumer stroke gaming. If it's green, it's server workstation and therefore high-end and a different thing. However, I've established this is not entirely consistent. We've got one little quirk we'll come to in a moment. So just running down the line, I wasn't actually aware that SuperO went down to the levels of B360, but they do, so it is consumer rather than gaming. I mean, obviously some gamers use relatively low motherboards. So in my mind's eye, SuperO gaming, in actual fact, it'd be fairer to say consumer. Z390 IW, we've got a review of that. I can't remember if it's been published yet or not, but it's been ongoing, and that is imminent or done depending on when you see this video. Reading the cards, Z390 CGW, Z390 PGW. It all feels a bit EVGA-ish, doesn't it, now I think about it? And then this is interesting to me. So here we have the C9 X299 PG300. X299 obviously being the thing. You can see what it is. It's a high-end X299 board. I'm going to reach behind me for a product card, which is F. And this is significant because it's got IPMI, which basically means remote desktop management, and dedicated VGA for IPMI. And if Briony can come over here, so the board looks the same, pretty much. There's a bit of a different thing going on with the chip here. If I just turn it, it's got that VGA port, an X299 board with VGA. Literally never even imagined such a thing might happen, and yet here we are. This is the weird and wonderful thing. And the fact of the matter is, a black PCB means it's consumer. Remote desktop management, no, it's not. That's workstation. So there is a little bit of a sort of a strange thing going on sometimes. But that combination of parts, in my experience, completely unique. This workstation board here, so green workstation, Xeon, albeit E2100, so cheap Xeon. Apparently, internet cafes in Asia. Again, I had absolutely no idea. I did not know internet cafes used Xeon boards. I thought they used cheap stuff, but apparently, reliable cheap stuff. You live and you learn. This board, now they're being a bit cagey. They really are. There's the product card. This is Xeon Scalable. It's green at the moment, although it's a development thing, so very likely that would appear in black. This, without a shadow of a doubt, is intended for the 28-core Xeon, the monster that's not yet been released by Intel. I'm aware of boards coming, as we know, from Gigabyte and from Asus. I was not aware that SuperO had a board in the works. They haven't exactly said, yes, yes, absolutely, that particular 28-core Xeon. They have not said that, but it is. It just is. That's all there is to it. And as soon as we get CPUs starting to flow, it'll be fascinating to see how that stacks up against Gigabyte and Asus. This is a chassis for that board, for that processor. Clearly not a gaming setup, as it says on the top, ideal for multi-GPU applications. But the point being is Xeon scalable processor. I do also like the fact it's up to 205 watt TDP, which of course is the official figure, as you know, depending on exactly which SKU of which Xeon you've got and how you run it. I mean, those things are reputed around to 1,000 watts. And then we've got two systems here. This is a slightly fingerprinty Lianli aluminium case, looks very nice, got a window on the side. It's a lovely little looking system, running some EVGA cooling and graphics inside. But we went past the system that is actually much more interesting, that Brian has already done some photos of, which is this tiny little thing here. It splits apart, and inside it's got a full-on liquid cooling loop on the CPU. The GPU is in this kind of half of the housing, so it splits open. It's not in two halves, it's about 40% by eye and call it a third, two-thirds. But the point is that it splits, it separates, and then you can gain full access to the CPU. At the moment, the cabling is, to be absolutely frank, a bit of a mess, but then it is very much a work in progress. The absolutely intriguing thing to me is it's got a tiny little alpha cool radiator, one of the very small, very chunky rads we saw at their suite just the other day. And when I stood there looking at the radiator, I said, I've never personally felt the need for such a radiator. This system has one of those exact radiators installed. And did they tell me at the time? Did they? Heck. But they knew. They knew. And that was a lightning tour of the SuperO suite here at the Bellagio CES 2019. I'm Leo Walter for Kit Guru. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. If you don't, well, whatever. Click the bell button. We'll tell you about new videos as they become available. I'm Leo Waldock. This is Kit Guru at CES.